welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is Green Eldrazi. This list took second place in a recent MTGO challenge. This list also took third place in the same MTGO challenge, and this list, with I think 1 or 2 changes, they just changed like the Guy's Cradle to a different tech land, took 4th place in that same tournament. That's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for the same deck in a Legacy tournament. 5th place was also Eldrazi, but it was a Mox Diamond build with Eldrazi Linebreaker, which is a pretty different deck. But 2nd, 3rd, 4th, the exact same list. This has to be paid attention to. Eldrazi was already competitive and viable before the recent ban list update. It was not affected by the ban list update. Its meta position was not affected by the shifts caused by the ban list update. And it's just kind of the #1 represented deck in Legacy right now. It's ruthless, it's efficient, it has lines that feel aggressive, it has lines that feel combo, it has lines that feel prison. Sowing Mycospawn is just a complete unit of a Magic card. On the very surface, this is just like another Wasteland in the deck. If you build that out a little bit, it's actually closer to Crop Rotation in terms of the package it provides. And obviously, like, search your land, deck for a land put on the battlefield is literally the text of Crop Rotation. But as people figure out how techy the lands need to be and what they should be, the better this card is going to get. If the game happens to be about aggression, you could grab that Wasteland. If it happens to be about casting Devourer of Destiny, you could grab that Gaia's Cradle or Eye of Ugin. And it just solves so many mid-range problems. Also, just 3/3 body usually happens on turn 2. Incredible card. Thought-Knot Seer has been great since it was printed. This was the core of the old Eldrazi deck. It's the only card that has made it from the old Eldrazi deck to the new one. The only non-land card. And great, we've adopted the One Ring. Decks that could get 4 mana pretty easily on turn 2, and if you really have to squeeze on turn 3, ramping out the One Ring, keeping cards flowing. The way that fair decks beat Eldrazi historically is answer the first couple things they do, and then just hope that your cards are better than theirs off the top, as you have like Brainstorm, Ponder, Planeswalkers, things like that to smooth out draws, but they're just drawing cards off the top of their deck. The One Ring obviously breaks all of that, and it is a very smart inclusion for a deck like this one. I've played versions of this a couple times. We don't need to go card by card. Let's just jump in. This is Green Eldrazi. I'm on the draw in round 1. I have turn 1 Herald, turn 2 Fleshraker Plus. The Lotus Petal triggers Fleshraker. Eye of Ugin being in play means anything I draw is additionally castable. This is worth a keep to me. From the other side of this matchup, Glaring Fleshraker is the card that is most terrifying and frustrating to play against. The other things you can kind of predict or work through, like if your hand just has like a couple Swords to Plowshares in it, or enough basic lands to absorb an early Wasteland or whatever, those are like games you can manage. If Fleshraker comes down, especially if Eye of Ugin fuels a second Fleshraker immediately, and then they ping you for 4 and pass with 8 bodies in play, it's all really bad. Wow, Force on Herald to protect this Tamiyo. Force pitching, Force negation. I think that was aggressive. I mean, we'll see if they're a deck that's built around, like, this might be Blue Moon, or they might have made a Harbinger. They could be a Wasteland strategy, where that would be pretty smart. Or if their hand is just 4 forces, doing literally anything to buy some time makes sense. But Herald is not the card I'm scared of as a blue deck. Brainstorm, we're just getting Tamiyo into the thick. Basic Plains, not a Wasteland. Wasteland was the card I was most worried about here, by a lot. If I draw a castable Eldrazi here, they're in a lot of trouble. Eldrazi Temple is not that. How do I want to play this? Eye of Ugin does not tap for mana for the One Ring. If Eye of Ugin, Fleshraker costs 1, I have a colorless floating for Eldrazi spells. I can play Lotus Petal that makes a Dingus. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could Kozilek's Command for 3. Yeah, that sounds really good. I have Ugin, Flesh Raker. The Kozilek's Command for 3 actually also casts the One Ring, because it's a spell itself. Okay. Yeah, they needed that pretty desperately, actually. Okay, I can still Kozilek's Command and set up the ring. Target player scries X, draws a card, and I could just do this for 2, leave my Lotus Petal in play and try to ring next turn. I'm thinking, what if I exile their graveyard instead? If I take the Force of Will and the Swords to Plowshares out of the graveyard, those are the best tools Tamiyo has. And maybe I could keep up with Tamiyo with the One Ring. I still only have 3 mana next turn, though. If I play no spells here, I have 4 mana, but if they just minus Tamiyo on Force of Will, the ring sucks. And I can't wait till they target something with Tamiyo because this mana is floating now and I don't have colorless on their turn. I think I'm going to go after the graveyard here. Plow and Force, get him out. X is currently 2. That is the number I was going for. 2 Chalice of the Voids. Bottom. If I top a Chalice of the Void, I can cast it next turn on my way up to ring the following turn, and then a Tamiyo ultimate. If those cards aren't castable, Tamiyo goes to 6, then it's not pretty. The better hit here would be an actual Soul Land. We've got 5 of those, or Lotus Petal, something that jumps me into the ring next turn. I think I will keep the Chalice around, though. That plow was disappointing. That would have been a One Ring and a Giant Scry. They fetched a Plains. Well, my opponent came prepared for this matchup. I cannot actually win this at this point. That's how you beat Eldrazi with a blue deck. It takes main deck stuff like Back to Basics, and that was solid. We've got Wastegate Battle Mage. Exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Yes, please. We've seen Back to Basics. Herald seems kind of mid. I love this sideboard. It's really just like Storm Junk, Graveyard Junk, Mirror Match, Storm Junk, end of list. The Devourer of Destiny is part of your mana base and threat base. It is super castable, especially against long matchups like this. I get Herald in a Once Upon a Time. Don't really want to cut my cards, and those are just sort of the fillers. At least that's how I understand this. I'm willing to believe I just am doing this wrong because it's not really my wheelhouse. But that's what makes sense to me. I've got a Devourer hand. At the beginning of my upkeep, I look at 4 cards, and hopefully there are threats among them. Oh, sick. Oh, there's Flesh Raker. I could also Tomb One this Chalice and just exile 2 Flesh Rakers. Yeah, let's go. Chalice of the Void. If I want to be the enemy, that is a way to do it. I'm going to play this Ancient Tomb and pass. They've got Flooded Strand, and I'd rather not take damage if I don't have to. I don't think this deck is going to daze me. Here's the fetch. Consigned to Memory now is going to be in their deck for sure. Brainstorm. Oh yeah, Emergency Brainstorm in response to the Chalice. This is what I wanted to see. Looks like they got there, but it caused a weird Brainstorm, and they exiled Lorien Revealed to that, which could have shuffled that Brainstorm. So I wonder if they're just looking at 6 good cards here, and there was no bad cards to put away with Brainstorm, or if they had to shuffle on the slow because they didn't have a worse blue card to pitch than Lorien Revealed. The Battle Mage. Okay, I can green kicker this whenever I need to. I'm going to play Eldrazi Temple and pass the turn. I have 2 answers in my hand to a Back to Basics. Tundra from hand, that makes Back to Basics a little worse for them, but still, they would play it if they could. Narset, Parter of Veils. Okay, I'm still only going to draw 1 card this turn. And I'm actually going to let them Narset first. If they find Force and spend it on Kozilek's Command, it's not a huge deal. Okay, end of turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will take the damage to make this better. Kozilek's Command. Target player scries. Target player makes some friends. 3 and 3. Lotus Petal, Eldrazi Temple, Wastegate Battle Mage. I don't want the Petal or the Temple, that's for sure. How many Battle Mages do I think I'm going to need in a game? I think I'd rather hit harder than this. I'm going to bottom that too. Just send them all away. Because I can bonk Narset this turn with Devourer. I have Ugin, Devourer. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can even tap this for green. Kill Narset. It doesn't do like a lot, but it does put a 6/6 into play. And the Herald making spawns into real creatures would be kind of nice. I have 1 left in the deck right now. Yep, it's in there somewhere. I don't think it's better than Battle Mage, though. I did board out the Heralds for the Battle Mages, and I've seen 2 Battle Mages, and I have all these things on board. But this is exactly the board state where I can get them if they think it's safe to tap out for back to basics. Because I have this 3 colorless here, these 2 colorless here, and I could just play a land and tap it for green. They brainstormed and then pondered without shuffling the brainstorm. So they are looking at good cards here. Oh, do we have Terminus? Oh, Dress Down. Sure. Dress Down is fine. I actually drew the Herald, which now Dress Down is a little annoying, but I can delete it here. Okay. Wastegate Battle Mage with the green kicker. 1, 2, 3. This doesn't need this ability. And then Herald with the floating mana. Ancient Tomb. That added 4 damage to the board. I hope that's worth doing. It plays out worse into a sweeper. But I also have Ugin active. And they're dead on board. So they have to sweep me now. And I no longer care about back to basics. Because if they play that, they just die. If they have like Swords to Plowshares that goes after my biggest creature, I can end step make a bunch more 1/1s. If they brainstorm and try to flip Tamiyo, I can exile it. Herald, no! Okay, Herald's dead. They have multiple plows coming in. I have a 2/2 remaining. And they've got 2 cards in their hand. This Ponder was used. I can click that out. Okay, end step, Kozilek's Command. I want to exile Tamiyo, and I want to Scry X and draw a card. And I'm paying a lot here. I don't want to sack any creatures. I guess, why wouldn't I? Heralds are gone. The Herald... Okay, the creatures can be used to activate Ugin, and 5 is already a pretty big number. Okay, they're just done. Sweet. So that was a forced double plow and just die situation. I may have misevaluated Herald. Turning spawns into damage is actually pretty sick. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. I like the rest of these cards, but in terms of Once Upon a Time being filler, I think I'd rather just have the action. Ooh, okay. Do I count on Devourer of Destiny to do everything? This gets to select 1 card. I think this is a mulligan. Okay, let's go. Keep this, bottom 1 of my 3 Flesh Rakers, and hope that Devourer finds an Eldrazi land. Ugin being the best one. This Ugin might not even be the best one because that makes it so I can't make Flesh Raker uncounterable. Volcanic Island in play. In my upkeep, I get to devour my destiny. Ooh, well, I could take this Wasteland and just zap it off. These decks generally don't like getting wasted. They're tapping for blue, then changing their mind. Okay, now it's gone. That's kind of a time walk high roll where we just play the first turn over again, and I hope that was worse for them than it was for me. Because these decks play a crap load of basics, and when they lead on a non-basic, it's usually a sign of weakness. And that bought me the turn to find Eldrazi Temple, sandbag the Cavern so they think their Consigned in Memory or whatever is going to work, but it's not. Cavern on Eldrazi. First appearance of this card. I'm going to rake some flesh. Going to fetch and response, basic planes. Okay. That resolved. Swords to Plowshares. If they slam back to basics right now, it'll be tough to come back from. I'm not without options, because I could just get up to 7 and play the Devourer, but it would be a bad turn for them to have that. And land number 3 is being fetched. Got Tundra, so that's probably Narset. Not back to basics. Okay, Harbinger. That's just as bad. Maybe worse, actually. There's 1 waste in the deck. Yep. This is the flip side. Oh, I forgot to evoke Null Drifter. I can literally do that. But this is the flip side of the powerful Eldrazi deck, is there are powerful hate cards that beat it. And if you look at Legacy decks right now, even like the Delver decks are on a bunch of Harbingers in the sideboard. The Jeskai decks are on as many as 5 of this effect, like 2 main deck back to basics, 2 Harbingers, and a Ruination in the sideboard. And I believe that is the correct amount of respect. I think I'd rather evoke this creature than play Chalice here. I'm not worried about Plow anyway. This endless parade of caverns that don't get to name anything. Lotus Petal. Oh, I didn't bring in Dismember. Am I supposed to bring in Dismember against literally any blue deck? Because they probably have Harbinger in them. That is reasonable if true. I have 1 waste. 1 waste is enough to play Wastegate Battle Mage off of. Now Narset's doing her thing. And there's Days Undoing. Alright, I'm cool. Yeah, it has to be a lock piece because they can't beat you on normal metrics. So if you are a blue player, like I am, make sure you have these lock pieces and you're respecting this deck. We've got Consigned to Memory and Harbinger of the Seas, some main deck back to basics. That's the right amount. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 2. I'm going to keep my hand. It's got some acceleration and it's hard to counter. I'm going to lead on the Temple and pass. This gives me the option of Ancient Tombing out a Thought-Knot Seer if there's some non-blue combo deck next turn, or pumping the brakes and go Cavern Fleshraker, or I could just Wasteland them. Uh-oh, Bloodstained Mire, we might be dead. Okay, it's just a Volcanic Island. Grixis Delver. That's fine. Lotus Petal will be a great draw. Just trying to get something out of this Fleshraker before it gets lightning bolted. Okay, that didn't happen. Cavern on Eldrazi. And I've done it last round and this round as well. Playing the Cavern last in your sequence of lands both protects it the best from Wasteland and hides that you have Cavern for as long as possible. Your opponent, if they're building a game plan around having a counterspell, like, I'll just daze their next play. No, you won't. The Wasteland's really good. Bobble. The Delver didn't flip, though. We got a little room to breathe. They know what I'm drawing next turn. I hope it's good. Wandered into another Bobble. Looking at my top card again. Is it different? So they're going to draw 2 cards here. Back up to 6 in hand. Once upon a time, I've cast a spell, unfortunately. I could ram Thought-Knot Seer into Daze. I could Wasteland them and hope that's good enough. I could play a second Fleshraker, and I have to use Ancient Tomb if I want to play around Daze, because spend this mana only to cast Eldrazi spells does not include the tax on Daze. Alright, I'm going to play Ancient Tomb and Fleshraker, and I'll take the damage to make it happen. And make sure to spend your mana correctly. Colorless Eldrazi mana spent first. 1 actual mana in the pool. We got the trigger. We got that boy. Get another trigger. And I don't have any 2-drops, so I'll just attack while I can still attack. Tapping Ancient Tomb into a Delver of Secrets is always scary. I do like Delver of Secrets generally against decks like Eldrazi and Red Stompy and stuff, especially when you're on the play. But the Delver does have to flip. You do have to back it up with something. All right, big Forg. As always, shout out to BoshNRoll Discord moderator Kath Big Frog, as another Big Frog joins our party. Okay, I have a spawn that can pay for days, so I'm going to sandbag my Wasteland until I know what their hand is, and I can decide which color I want to take them off. We might just die to this frog. They could either discard their whole hand of frog right now, and then what am I even supposed to do? I guess the answer is top deck Devourer of Destiny or the command. Okay, so they dazed, and I used my spawn. I wonder if they forgot that was there, or if they just thought that was worth doing. But that's why I didn't play a land, because the spawn was out. And now, take a look at your hand. That's just 4 damage to the dome as well. So messed up. Murktide Regent. That's not a card I can reasonably defeat. I'm going to take the Murktide. I'm going to wasteland the one land they have in play. Unfortunately, I just cannot attack through Psychic Frog anyway, and this doesn't matter. But they also can't afford to attack with Psychic Frog. And if I draw a spell at all, or a green source for Once Upon a Time, those are both good things. Delver flipped Revealing Bolt. That's suddenly a lot of damage. So you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They could put me to 6 right now and dead on board. But they're dead on the backswing. Frog's just jumping. Doing that before making any other decisions. Delver's back on defense. Probably necessary. Though it can't feel good. Frog drew Bauble. We know that. That was not a card that we'd seen. And we know their whole business right now. They know most of my business right now. From their previous bobbling. Ooh, went for the Delver rather than the Bolt. That must mean I'm not drawing a spell. That's bad news if true. Oof, yeah. Bad news. Confirmed. They do have to block here, though. Right, yeah, here comes all these. And my Wasteland, in terms of lands I could draw, does play. A Chumping Thought-Knot, trading with Fleshraker. They're really close to stability, and it's super frustrating. If they fetch, they go to 5. If Frog attacks, they could Bolt Fleshraker and just park the Frog in front of... Oh, did they draw Fatal Push? Yeah, okay. So now they can kill Thought-Knot here, draw a card. Does Frog even attack here? It's risky. All right, we held the Frog back. All right, come on, deck. A freaking spell. Not a spell, and doesn't cast Once Upon a Time. And next turn, they could bolt my Fleshraker, and then they're just 100% stable. Or they need a red source, so we're not sure they can do that. Rainstorm, that's a lot of looks at that red source. And these are the exact situations I was talking about in the deck tech where the ring is insane. Not that the One Ring needs explanation on why it's good in decks, but my opponent went back and forth on fair things. They went, Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, Wasteland, Daze. They've been playing mostly normal Magic over there. And I just drew Once Upon a Time, Cavern of Souls, Eldrazi Temple in a row instead of just any card. And here we are. That could still flip at any time. I have big draws. That's still not one of them. Drawing a Sowing Mycospawn even gets the full truckload of value. Tutors Eye of Ugin or tutors Yavimaya. Then I can play Once Upon a Time. We're still in here. I'm at 15 to their 4, but Frog it's Frog. Okay, they jumped the Frog this time after I got a nice little block last time. And we had that one window of, we know their shields are down. If I could just cast a spell. Right, they've got a land. We know Psychic Frog's still in the hand. Now it's in play. And draw step. Can we do it? Okay, Devourer of Destiny is excellent. We finally drew a good card. Cavern Eldrazi. Been holding on to that one for a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, we get to boop a Frog. And now I have a 6/6 in play. Pass the turn. They can deal 5 to me with Frog, but then they lose. So they do actually need to come up with a different blocker. They're tapping for Murktide right now. That's happening. That was a good one. Can I find another Devourer or a Kozilek's Command that is only a 3/3? They can jump Frog and make it 6/6. And then they can jump Frog again to make it bigger. Yep, that works. Oh, I need to draw another Devourer right now. There's 2 left in the deck. Or finding Eye of Ugin starts to dig for that. Waste does nothing of the sort. This Once Upon a Time has been awful. Just going to do a check of the deck right now. There are 2 ways, or Lotus Petal, 2, 6, 7. There's 7 ways to actually cast Once Upon a Time, and only 2 Once Upon a Times. Yeah, that's probably responsible. I just ran bad. But if I attack, they have to jump Frog to not die. And then I can block Frog. Or no, they can discard 3 cards. So 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, dead. Disappointing run. Delver, Wastegate Battle Mage, huge here. I'm mad at Once Upon a Time. I'm not actually mad at it, but as we saw last round, I do just kind of think it's the worst card. Though, if I did have access to green that game, digging 5 deep on that clutch turn rather than having to draw naturally would have been huge. But there's also the flip risk of, what if you don't have green mana? Dismember, do I bring this in? It seems, air quotes, obvious that you bring in removal spells versus Delver, but think about their threats. I don't play black mana outside of Lotus Petal, so I would have to pay the full 4 to kill Delver. I'd have to pay 4 to kill Dragon's Rage Channeler. I don't kill Murktide or Frog with this. I had a great match on stream at some point recently where I was the Frog deck and Eldrazi just dismembered me on turn 2 when I cast my Frog, and I just discarded my hand and they died to my 7/8. I think that's not a good play pattern. Yeah, I am not going to meet them where their creatures are. I have the Battle Mage that can bounce. A Geraldo, One Ring that I cannot turn to. I will keep this. All right, Temple, Herald. I don't think they're going to have discard. I'm going to hold on to Lotus Petal and hide what I'm capable of. See Bauble. See Bauble run. All right, is there a Fleshraker on top of my deck? There's a redundant Eye of Ugin. You really, really hate to see it. I'm going to play Wastes and attack for 2. And just pass here, which my opponent is stoked about. Maybe I'm supposed to mulligan this. Just a turn 3 One Ring, not good enough. They fetched and then didn't cast a spell. Ooh, there's the Raker. I can play Cradle, then play Raker. And if this resolves, I could also cast One Ring this turn. Sucks I had to play around Daze by revealing the Cradle, though. Consign with Replicate, in case I had a counterspell. You got it. Sandbag that Lotus Petal so long, just in case I drew exactly that. And I did, and it didn't work. They found mana number 3. I don't know if Grixis is playing any Harbinger of the Seas type action, because their mana is pretty specific. Lightning Bolt, which is also Strip Mine because of Gaia's Cradle. Lotus Petal. Okay, I'm not unhappy to see you. I will play out the Lotus Petal now to play around Daze on Chalice, because this is actually a very, very good card in this position. Here's the Eye of Ugin they saw 100 years ago. If they just play Murktide Regent, this Chalice of the Void is not going to matter at all. But if they are on kind of a slow handful of Consigned to Memories and Lightning Bolts and Ponders and stuff, that's great. Blue-red. Am I getting melted down? Horrible. Okay, yep. Lotus Petal God 2. Kept on this thread that Lotus Petal powering out the One Ring, and it's now about to be turn 5. Lotus Petal died without doing anything. And the One Ring is still in my hand and not castable. And I don't even mean not castable because they're a Daze deck. I mean, literally, I cannot put it on the stack. My Kingdom for Sowing Mycospawn. Guess I can't even cast that. Nope, I'm going to keep my Kingdom. I take it back, take it back. What do I even want here? Thought-Knot Seer? Devourer of Destiny? I can't cast Devourer. Alright, Cavern on Eldrazi. I'm just playing lands at this point. Still only have 3 mana here. This is the flip side of these cool tech lands. They all come with contingencies and rules, and I am currently failing. Dragon's Rage Channeler coming through. The first damage done on turn 6, but that's plenty. Alright, well, is there any universe where this resolves? Probably not, but I'm still casting it. It's the only thing I got. Oh my goodness, we're in. Draw a card. I didn't expect that to work. Even Consigned to Memory gets that. There's no juke even. Ponder, flip the Delver. Ponder surveils the DRC. This list doesn't have like all his dust or anything in it to catch up. Once we're this far behind, I'm going to have to beat these things with actual creatures played. Just beat them on stats, flip the race. Has to attack. Just bonks off my protected head. If I draw 3 spells this turn, we might be gaming. There's 1. I drew 2 spells this turn. Okay. How do I want to sequence this? What do I tutor? Alright, so I have 2, 4, 5, 6. If I get another Cavern of Souls. Alright. Cast with Kicker. I'm going to search for my land after I exile their land. So I have more information about, is the land gone? Did they float mana? And they have less information about what they would do with that, depending on what I search for. Oh, Blast Zone. Never mind. I do have a tech land for this. Blast Zone in the zone. Mycospawn Resolve. Wow, that's a good card. And I have exactly 3 mana to bust the zone. And I'm not playing around anything here. Let's bust the zone. Cool. I can also cast Thought-Knot Seer here, but it costs me 2 life, and it is counterable. Fatal Push. Alright. Fatal Push was used. I'm not about to turn on Daze. I'm going to pass and use Thought-Knot Seer next turn, which is a little risky, I understand, because if they play Murktide Regent this turn, I would have liked to remove from their hand, but they had the whole game to cast that, and they didn't yet. They just shuffled that Ponder. Bobble. If they had that any earlier turn, it would have been used by now. Targeting their own base with Bobble. Okay, will my ring kill me before I can turn this around on them? Nully, 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 nully. That's an actual just annihilator at this point. Okay. How do we do this? I think I start with Fleshraker. I should tap for Eldrazi mana. Fleshraker first. And then Herald. Just playing out the less important things first, and I'm also ramping Cradle as we do this. Ping, ping. Right. This is the one that I want to be uncounterable, the Thought-Knot Seer. Uncounterable Thought-Knot. Let me see them thoughts. If they're holding Price of Progress, I just lose, and there's nothing to be done about it. I'm just going to ram things into play. The One Ring, what a card. They said in the chat, there goes that plan. Show me the plan. Murktide Regent, Molten Collapse. Interesting that that wasn't in play. Yeah, that's the one I was worried about. Okay, Null Drifter. Cast with mana floating. Their hand is Polluted Delta, Molten Collapse. All right, cool. The One Ring just resolved on a game that I was never, ever, ever, ever competitive in and completely flipped it. I still don't think I want Dismember in my deck. I think having bigger creatures than them and applying damage faster than them, and between Devourer and Battle Mage, that does enough to control Frog. Sowing Mycospawn, tutoring a 3-for-1. 3-for-0, really. I didn't even actually spend a card on that. So Sowing Mycospawn that game was actually... I got the body, that's 1. I exiled their land, that's 2. I tutored Blast Zone, which got 3 cards. So this was a full-on 5-for-1 on a turn where I drew 3 cards. So I put them 8 cards behind in one game sequence. Yeah, that's sick. We've seen Meltdown. Do I want to be putting Chalice of the Void in my deck? I could, like, shave a Chalice, add a Herald, and just apply more pressure. Chalice is not a good top deck late, and if they have cards specifically in the deck to answer exactly this, like Unspent Lotus Petal is the only other thing in my deck that Meltdown affects. Right, I will try this. And getting it incidentally with Molten Collapse is also pretty rough. Okay, I will keep this. I get the Devourer selection, and I have access to green and colorless, and Sowing Mycospawn, which is the best card in the planet. Best card ever printed. The Doctor. Devourer. I can keep Fleshraker and do more. Or I could keep Ancient Tomb and Insulate versus Wasteland. I currently do not have a follow-up way to cast spells if I get Wastelanded off Ancient Tomb. I am actually going to keep an Ancient Tomb. Sucks to yeet Fleshraker. We've seen how good that card is. All right, Geraldo, get in there. Playing around Daze with the Lotus Petal. Okay. They have determined their land drop is worth more than my Lotus Petal. This is a play that I would make if I had Wasteland in my hand. Like if they can Bobble, get Delirium, Wasteland me, then they're happy to take themselves back a land. That's not Wasteland. Or if your hand is just bad and you need that Surveil, that would be a reason to do that. Or if you think the Lotus Petal's presence on the board means Daze will never do anything, maybe that's a reason to do that. Bobble. They are delirious. They are pushing damage. My mana is 2 Ancient Tombs. This is the board state I described in game 1, where Delver on the play attacking with a 3-power flyer, and you have to tap Ancient Tomb just to cast spells. It's worrisome. Come on, good card. Kozilek's Command's a good card. Okay, they spent a Daze already. I'm going to play Yavimaya, and I'm just going to try to exile this command, or exile this creature. Exile target creature with mana value X, and target player scries 1, draws a card. I love drawing cards. I'll try that. And they spent days on something that didn't get dazed last turn. Did they have 2 of them? That got a Force of Will, which pitched a Brainstorm. That play cost me 2 life, though, which is adding up quick. I'll be at 10 before I get to my next turn. I'll be at 8 when I cast my next spell. Puts me to 5 my next on the following turn with the attack, and then the next time I tap Ancient Tomb, I'm dead to Bolt. They should waste Yavimaya here. Yeah, they did. That was correct. I had a video come out a week or 2 ago where my opponent had City of Traders and Ancient Tomb in play, and I was attacking with tempo creatures, and people seemed really confused and in some cases enraged that I wasted the city. And they were like, but their next land makes it so they have only 1 land, but they keep the Ancient Tomb. It's like, yeah, but their life total's dwindling. I need blue to make this work. I don't actually have a spell to cast this turn. Just run out Cradle and let them know if they have Lightning Bolt, they can Stone Rain me. But the Rise of Eldrazi, no reference to the set intended, but the rise of the Eldrazi deck in Legacy to being a top tier deck as it is. And then we see games like this where Delver hasn't actually even done anything. They haven't consigned me to memory. They haven't Price of Progress. They haven't done anything really special outside of their core game plan. But they're going to win this game just by Wasteland Daze attack for 3. And yeah, if I play this Mycospawn, I get to tutor a land. I don't have enough mana to activate Blast Zone. I don't play a Maze of Ith. Guy's Cradle's already in play. I would have 1 colorless floating, which is 2 colorless short of bouncing the Channeler. Yeah, I'm just dead. Just checking for reach on Sowing Mycospawn. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have it. Okay, no. There is secret reach on a bunch of Eldrazi from MH3, though. Alright, GG's opponent. Delver just doing Delver stuff, and it's good enough to beat Eldrazi when you're on the play. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I'm on the play in round 3. Sad hand with just Sowing Mycospawn and no real plan. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, this is a turn 2 Chalice of the Void for sure. I'm going to keep this bottom one of the chalices and use Devourer to find some action. I don't get it right away because I'm on the play, but I could build a plan for the future around it. It's weird with Devourer on the play versus draw. I almost feel like the card is nerfed when you're on the play, which maybe it should be. Play draw is one of the continually existing weaknesses of competitive constructed Magic, but the fact I get to look at these and I don't get one until next turn is so sad. Okay, I don't want Eye of Ugin. I think I actually just need the Cavern of Souls so I can cast the Sowing Mycospawn. Eldrazi Temple, ship. Blue to Delta. That's not Wasteland. It might be Entomb, though. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I've been thought seized. Let's see that Chalice at the graveyard. Sad I had to mulligan, or else I would have had 2 of the important card. So they saw the One Ring. They saw the plan I was going for. They don't know I kept Cavern on top. If they cast Entomb and Reanimate right now, none of it's going to matter. Tamiyo. And a fetch land. And B-Storm. Yeah, they're just like, I want a Planeswalker. I'm going to Thoughtseize you again before this ring comes down. That's reasonable. Can't blame you for that one. Plussing Tamiyo. Kozilek's Command. Alright, Cavern of Souls, naming Eldrazi. And cast Sowing Mycospawn, unfortunately unable to kick it. 1 short. The Beastie Boys are so disappointed. Do I want to go up or do I want to bring them down? I think I want to go up here. If I grab like another Eldrazi Temple right now, I can cast this Kozilek's command and exile a Thoughtseize from their graveyard. That also gets me straight up into Uncounterable Devourer next turn. Yeah, I'm going to grab a Temple. Kozilek's command, target player scries, exile up to X. I scry, delete Thoughtseize. This, of course, is susceptible to Daze, Force, any of these things that I haven't even tested yet this game. This is my first spell. Ooh, it worked. All right, Fleshraker, I want to keep that. That card rules. And they know I can boop Tamiyo on board. A Wasteland would send me back pretty far. They plus Tamiyo before casting Ponder. I think you should Ponder first. They have the Wasteland, so they're getting away with it. They're going after Temple rather than Cavern, so they're not worried about counterspells. Come on, 2-mana land. Oh no. Alright, well that Wasteland might just be enough to get it done if I don't draw a way to afflict this Tamiyo with real pain next turn. Tamiyo's at 8. I'm on notice. Another Tamiyo. That one can block for the first one. Reanimate my spawn, sure. Reanimate confirmed. Alright, 2-mana land. Lotus Petal. That's a 1-mana land. Dang. Well, I can cast the One Ring. Drawing cards is a lot slower than drawing half your deck, unfortunately. Chalice of the Void. Too late for that. Casting on 0 I don't think matters. If I could get it in on 1 right now, I would, but yeah, that Wasteland, just clutch. Exactly took me off the mana I would have needed. Alright, you draw half your deck and we'll see if it beats the One Ring. Let's go. Flips the second Tamiyo immediately, whether you like it or not. You cannot decline that one. I imagine they can muster up an Entomb plus Reanimate at this point, if that's even what they want to do. It's probably a Wasteland in their hand. Good chance. Ooh, a Swamp. Okay. A Frog that can attack for over 20 next turn. Yeah, that's a good one. And Fatal Push. Okay, that's not a second Frog. I am extremely likely to be able to cast Devourer this turn. I have 7 mana in play already, plus I get 3 draws to find more. Another Ring if I need to refresh myself. A Cavern on Eldrazi. That lets me keep my dope. Devourer of Destiny, exile Psychic Frog. Maybe I was supposed to Chalice first before even playing my land drop. Like if I went Cavern, Yavimaya, Chalice, then Daze doesn't work for the turn. Okay, I think I'm just going to pass here. They can do whatever they want. They have half their deck in their hand. If I can turn off Daze, I will. Entomb gets the Archon. This is why having a spawn still around was important. I can't imagine their 22-card hand would have a single removal spell in it, though, to change that math. What are the odds? Or even just minusing Tamiyo to get the Fatal Push that's already in their graveyard. They figured it out. Okay, so I'm going to take 6 this turn and lose my board. Fizzle your Fatal Push. Got him. Alright, I take 6 this turn, lose my board. I can play the other Devourer and devour the Archon. Devourer, and I think Lotus Petal is my worst card right now. And they've got a Thoughtseize. Bad news, everybody. My answer to Archon is gone. Good news is I get to draw 4 cards next turn. And I can reset the ring. I think I definitely messed up last turn, though. I should have played Chalice of the Void before I did anything else. And by having the second Cavern in my hand, I even get to pretend I'm tapping out of Cavern to do it. Reanimating my big donkey. Okay, they're at 5. Can I punish that? If I draw a massive sequence of spells that involves a Glaring Fleshraker, of which there are 2 left in my deck, I might be able to do 5 here. Cavern, 3 new cards. None of them are Glaring Fleshraker. What do I do here? Just cast the One Ring, hope it resolves. I think that's probably right. Or lead on Chalice. They don't care about Chalice anymore, but no other card matters. Okay. Chalice on 1. We'll start there. By doing that, I just turned on Daze, a card I have carefully played around the entire game. All right, whatever. I'm not beating a 20-card hand. It doesn't matter. I'm so ready to concede. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they did a great job just flipping that Tamiyo. They played it and immediately cast Brainstorm on turn 1. They knew what the plan was all along. Okay, Fairy Macabres. Do I want Wastegate Battle Mage? I think I want the Macabres. I have Command and Devour and Chalice to challenge a early Tamiyo. This deck probably has Harbinger of the Seas in it. Yeah, this is getting tricky. Like, this deck looks like it's pick up and play, big dumb, do the thing, but especially when you start thinking about how the format attacks it, it becomes like 7 cards in and out. Is this even remotely correct? It's hard. I think I have to cut Null Drifter because I can't afford them to reanimate it. Maybe I don't need all my dismembers. I don't really want to cut a Chalice on the play. Okay, let's go. Now I have at least some outs to the Harbinger. Ugh. 3 of a kind, 3 sideboard cards. That means the hand's good, right? Wrong. This hand, I think, is much better than the first one I saw. Keep, bottom, Ancient Tomb. Okay, can we have our first ever turn 1 Chalice of the Void? It resolved. That's good news. Undercity Sewers. I can Wasteland that and keep them under the Chalice for longer. Okay, Wasteland you, and I'm going to play a backup Chalice. What else am I doing with this? And in case they have a Brazen Borrower or something that can clear that. Now I'm on top of it. The alternative was hold it to be a Chalice on 2. Okay, I think I have to Mycospawn here. Or I could wait a turn and Conqueso it. I'm going to wait. Should have held the Lotus Petal. I think given that I'm on kind of a prison draw here, and I have the Chalices going, waiting to get more out of my card is better. And there was nothing I could have done about Psychic Frog there anyway. The waiting was definitely rewarded. Cavern on Eldrazi, cast with Kicker. But guess what? Psychic Frog is going to solo me because I'm a deck that's trying to win with creatures, and no deck like that can beat Psychic Frog. Exile the basic Swamp. Oops, I tutored backwards. Or I stacked my things backwards. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I'm going to get Wasteland here. Wait. Don't waste yet. They could still daze and save their land. Okay, so I gotta get Blaststone into play, get it up to 2, before I'm just dead to this frog. If they just make it 8 power, jump it twice, the game is over, which I think they should make some effort to do. They're attacking, I can't block. It has been jumped. How many cards going in? There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Yeah, they're just doing it. This is correct. Definitely the right thing. Was I supposed to use last turn to play Blaststone so it could be on 2 for this turn? They left 2 cards in their hand. I wonder if that's Force Blue card. Is it Wasteland? Oh, the Macabre. Right on time. I'm dead. Can't cast Fairy Macabre to block. Cool. Yeah, Psychic Frog, really good. I think it is, like, this is interesting to me as a both consumer of the Legacy format and player of decks I think are fun and interesting. I think it rules that a blue tempo deck locked out by Chalice of the Void can just flip the script on a big mana Eldrazi deck with 1 card, because I hate these decks. These are not my style. If you catch me registering Ancient Tomb at Eternal Weekend, call the police, because that's not me. That's me signaling that things are not okay. But also, I think it is good and healthy that these decks exist and are competitive. And this is not the first game in 3 matches of Magic now where my opponent has just resolved Psychic Frog and the whole game stops. It's just, you can't attack into this, then it kills you in 2 hits. Game. I know I'm not playing perfectly. Probably made some mulligan decisions wrong, some sideboarding decisions wrong. Like, I don't know, I'm learning this thing. But this is just kind of offensive. On to the next round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the draw for round 4 versus Velgrim, who was playing the Epic Storm last time I paired into this person. This Thought-Knot Seer comes out a little slow. Sowing Mycospawn, I can't even cast it. I can't play Herald. There's no Chalice of the Void. If I reveal Devourer on turn 0, they're going to know what I am, and they can just go nuts. I think I have to mulligan this. Ring, Herald. Turn 2, Ring. No, it's not turn 2, because this is Eldrazi Temple. Oof. And I would keep this hand if I didn't suspect they were on Storm. Alright, I'm just going to keep the hand, and hope that things work out my way. Maybe they're trying a different deck today. Or we just get LED echoed on turn 1. LED. Very bad matchup to lose the die roll in. They're all in here. If I just had a Force of Will or a Chalice of the Void, this would be a non-game. There's Chalice. So let's see if their echo hit. Because I can, air quotes, turn 1 Chalice here, although they've already looked at 14 cards. Okay, this 7, though, I would have snap kept this 7. This is turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Thought-Knot. This is what you want in the matchup. Except you mostly want it when they haven't already made Storm 4 and done a bunch of stuff. And Storm players are built different, though. Like, that hand, that all-in double LED echo, if you have Force, I concede. I can't do that. Power to them. And it's looking great in this matchup, but also, power to them. Okay, Chrome Mox, Brainstorm, Mox Opal, Brainstorm, Scrubland. I don't see access to green mana, which would turn on the Veil of Summer. And Veil of Summer gets their 0s out. I actually think Chalice on 0 is better than Chalice on 1 right here. So the 0s in their deck are all the mana except Dark Ritual. The 1s in their deck are Brainstorm, Dark Ritual, Veil of Summer. Veil of Summer is a 1 that makes Chalice ineffective versus 0s. But they don't have green showing. And if they sandbagged a bunch of 0s, yeah, I'm going to play Eldrazi Temple and Chalice on 0. Okay. I've made my decision. Let's hope this works. This might be the only decision I make this game. I can also Kozilek's command to draw a card here and make 0 1/1s or exile 0 cards from their graveyard. I scry 0, draw a card. Exile 0 creatures. Okay, here's one of the Brainstorms from exile. I don't think I'm going to Kozilek's command this turn. I think affecting their graveyard will be better. If I get a turn at all, I think going Thought-Knot Seer, take a peek, apply pressure, and then hold up Graveyard Hate and real card selection the turn after that is the best way to do this. There's a Scrubland from exile, so we're not getting Veil of Summered. And I think we saw a Silence or something like that disappear in the Echo. I honestly was too busy getting echoed, so I may have blinked and missed it, but I think I saw white interaction, which, if true, they might not even have Veil of Summer. Okay, I'm getting Silence on my upkeep. Worm's Chant, sure, okay. So I don't get to Thought-Knot. If I do get to hold up Kozilek's command, I can hit their graveyard now. They might be pivoting off of Veil of Summer because Consigned to Memory is just played in all blue decks at this point, and Veil doesn't stop that, but Orm's Chant and Silence do. Yeah, okay, this does not look like a deck that has green mana in it. They flipped an Echo, just raw flipped. Oh no, they brainstormed into that. It wasn't a raw flip. They did great. This turn, I'm definitely going to Kozilek's command. K command, target player scries X. Do I want to scry X, or do I want to make mana? I can double spell next turn. Oh, I actually want to make mana. I don't need cards here. All right, I'm going to make spawns and exile their Echo. Exile Echo and I guess Relay. That's 2 Echoes gone. Am I going to get Orm's Chanted again? Oh yeah, they're tempo storming me now. Ancient Tomb can come into play. Not going to attack, though it would be fun. I'll run out of those eventually, and I'm ready to unload when they do. Ponder. If they find Burning Wish, I assume that can find an answer to Chalice, but it might take a turn. Did not shuffle the Ponder. Bloodstained Mire, okay. Do we actually have green also? No, cool. Burning Wish. If this is a pass play, Thought-Knot Seer can rip it. If it's a pass play and they have a third Silence, or they could Prismatic Ending right now and win on the spot. Okay, do they have the follow-up win on the spot? Look at this prismatic ending. This is crazy. What set is this even? It's just a special guess. I've never seen this in my life. Okay. This orange Jan is crazy too, but that's a MH3 treatment. Okay, so they cleared the Chalice, but they did have to pass, and they don't have white mana available right now. How gnarly can I get? I have Cradle in my hand. So Thought-Knot Seer makes Cradle tap for 3. I'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means I can still kick Mycospawn, or I could ignore Mycospawn and play the One Ring. Yeah, I'm gonna knot their thoughts and see them first. They do have a chant. LED, Relay, Chant. I don't think I care about Chant anymore. Is LED or Relay actually the better card here? Because Relay's worse without LED. LED also turns on Echo and Burning Wish. I think I should actually take the LED. Okay, I hope that was right. I don't feel super confident in it. Alright, so 3, 4, 5, 6. Mycospawn, I can spawn with 1 mana left over and tutor a land. And that would actually reduce their... I could take them off red. I could take them off red and white. Or no, red or white. Not both. I think, given the circumstance, I would rather constrict their options and add more damage to the board. Take you off white there. Take you off red and white here. Obviously, they have Lotus Petal, but if they use Lotus Petal Orange Chant just to stop me from playing the One Ring next turn, they're way behind. Yeah, I think if I take Galvanic Relay with the Thought-Knot Seer, then I play the One Ring to make sure I don't die, and then I start pulling ahead. But if I take LED, then I play Sowing Mycospawn as a full package of mana denial. Maybe that makes sense. All right, well, they're doing something. I hope this is a relay for 2. All right, it's a relay for 3. It's relay for 3, Orbs Chant you, hope this is enough. Oh, they're chanting now. Okay, so, yeah, I guess that makes the most sense. Just cycling the Orbs Chant rather than stopping me from playing a card when I already have a bunch of damage. Burning Wish, Bloodstained Mire, Burning Wish, Beseech. That's pretty bad. And I'm going to have the shields up on the turn where they have to deploy these cards. Gaia's Cradle. Do I want a Once Upon a Time? Yeah, I think I do. I can still cast the Ring, and if I find something like Sowing Mycospawn, I could put them to 0 mana. Is 0 mana better than having protection for everything? I think it is. Okay. And I have a land in hand still. Oh, wait, hold on. Can I play the Ring? Was I supposed to play City of Traders here? I think I was. Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. If I had played City, I could have played the Ring 2. Foolish. Just got so excited. Okay. Exile target land. All right, they're just scoping to that. Cool. Well, we got away with game 1. Echo didn't kill me, and then Chalice on 0. Held the fort for long enough. Chalice is great. Null Rod, Mindbreak Trap. Very Macabre has text. Let's see what the sideboard plan looks like. I mean, Null Drifter seems really slow. Devourer seems really bad, but Devourer could dig for things like Null Rod and Mindbreak Trap, so maybe I do need that. Mycospawn is the mid-game and the end-game. Once again, Herald and Once Upon a Time just seem like the choppable cards. Do I want to make room for any Macabres? Macabre stops quick Gaia's Will lines, and if they ever put Echo in the graveyard and pass priority, which they rarely do, but we saw it last game that it can come up. Yeah, I think this game is more about being alive and winning with what's left than it is about beating down with spawn tokens. Could even cut a Flesh Raker. Just basically knocked out my whole bottom end there. I will see. Okay, here we go. Macabre's also not a spell, so if they think Orange Chant can stop it, it cannot. Okay, this hand can cast Null Rod or Chalice on turn 1, but the Devourer of Destiny has to come up with that card. And I'm otherwise not doing anything. I'm going to mulligan. I'm also on the draw, and they know that I'm this deck now. Oh, this hand's very good if I get a turn. Not great if I don't. I'm going to keep. And bottom, it's probably Kozilek's Command. Okay, here we go. Am I getting a turn? The Orange Chant tempo game was actually really cool. That's just like full time walk versus a deck with so few instants in it. Chrome Mox pitching Beseech, Dark Ritual. All right, we might just die. LED. And Echo. All right, they're echoing with a lot of mana floating. This is a good start. And my hand's gone, but this is more looks at Mindbreak Trap, which I also didn't hit. I did draw another Chalice. I did not draw the ability to cast this Null Rod. B-Storm. And again, that was a hand that would have just died to Mindbreak Trap. Just didn't have it, but knowing that they're willing to play in this way, after seeing game 1 and game 2, is a good chance if I get to have Mindbreak Trap in my hand. I'm also on the play next game, where everything is completely different. Back in the olden times, Storm hated Eldrazi. It was just the worst matchup. They played Thorn of Amethyst and Chalice of the Void main, and then Thought-Knot Seer for Disruption, and Reality Smasher just killed them real quick. It's a little different now. It's less prisony, but it still hits pretty hard. They're casting a Beseech. This is going to win. Song of Creation is the plan. Making their second land drop for the turn, which is allowed. Okay, starting with Ponder is kind of weak. You generally want to poop out zeros and just shred, but I mean, they have 6 cards in hand, they'll figure it out. A Mox Opal. I technically have to play this out in case they echo again, and I come up with Mindbreak Trap. But right now I get to F6, which is nice. They're exiling Burning Wishes with Chrome Mox. That's bad news for me, because that's a lethal card. All right, you did it. Right now it's my turn to be on the play. I think 2 is the right number of Fairy Macabres, if it's any at all. And I'm just going to prioritize keeping a hand that has Null Rod, Chalice, or Mindbreak Trap in it. Okay, this hand has Chalice. I could play it for 0, which does matter, as we've determined. I will keep this. Chalice on 0 is good enough, I think. And the Wasteland follow-up is pretty nice. Chalice on 0. Cavern on Eldrazi. I'm hiding the Wasteland, because if they start trying to build out on top of this, I can Wasteland them. Especially if they go White Source, Silence You, I can Wasteland the White Source. We know they have Prismatic Ending in the deck, so they might just answer this and win. But we made them do it. LED, okay. And off we go. Chrome Mox. I hope I spin into a Mindbreak Trap. They exiled the Gaia's Will. The graveyard lines are a lot worse now. Okay, Wasteland their White Source, or get Fleshraker into play are my options here. I think I should get Fleshraker into play. Just applying pressure at all is so meaningful. Playing the One Ring next turn really puts the boots to them, and they can't win on the turn where I have the ring out. They could make a wall of 4/4 Prowess Dragons and pass, and I can't beat that either. But the ring protection does afford me some insulation. They can hard cast Beseech the Mirror here. Yeah, they did not bargain that. That's just a card in their hand. And they're going for Echo. All right. Mindbreak Trap. Come on, deck. All right, please whiff. I have the Null Rod and the Chalice and another Null Rod. Please whiff, please whiff. Pass the turn. Lion's Eye Diamond. Bad news. Another Mox Opal. Those will Legend Rule. Blue in the pool. Ponder. This is turn 2, so they've made their land drop. There's a million ways we lose here, but also this is just a random 7 cards. They did not shuffle Ponder. Oh my goodness. We're getting a turn. Okay. If I play the backup Raker first, then all of these artifacts are free, because they all make 2 mana and cost 2 mana. Lotus Petal's actually a bonus ritual. Just it becomes Black Lotus. Okay, ping ya. Who's the combo deck now? Petal. Ping, 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 ping. Chalice on 0 is also a ritual. Ping, 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 ping. I have to use the Lotus Petal. Do I want to draw cards first? I think so. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Scry 1, draw 1. Scry 2, draw 1. These all pay for themselves, so I'm just going to go big here. Command for 5. Target player scries X, draws a card. And if I make many dinguses, this is another ritual. Okay. All right, me, target me. And these dinguses all deal damage too. Oh, this is actually just lethal. What am I even thinking about? Double Fleshraker is so messed up. Yeah, they're just dead. Cool. All right. Who's the Storm deck now? Don't even have to show you the null rods. On to the next round. We gotta win. I'm on the play for the final round. My redemption arc continues. I'm gonna mulligan this hand that is too slow. Once upon a time, for the first time, I am going to keep this. No, I think I cast Once Upon a Time one other time. I remember taking, it was in the Storm matchup. It did resolve. Okay. I will keep this. And I think I bottom Wasteland here. I wish I could cast Once Upon a Time now before I had to make this decision. Would that be balanced? Is that fair? I'm going to bottom Wasteland. Okay, first spell of the game. Once Upon a Time. Ancient Tomb's a good find. That gets my Chalice out without spending my Petal and gets me turn 2 One Ring. Let's go. Chalice of the Void. Can we get a turn 1 Chalice solo game? Those don't happen often anymore, but they do exist. Verdant Catacombs. And they passed it to me. I don't really want to give Verdant Catacombs decks Yavimaya. So I'm going to play Wasteland, even though I would have liked to hide that information. One Ring to rule them all. That resolved. Cool. Draw a card. Ugin. Okay, who plays Verdant Catacombs in 2024? Is this Storm again? Another take on Storm? Is this my False Cure deck from last week? What could this be? Talon Gates of Madara. Okay, this is some sort of Golgari lands adjacent strategy. Might be Cradle Control, might be Depths. Zenith for 1. That does get a 1-drop into play through my shenanigans. The Ignoble Arena. Okay, I am at 15 already from all this stuff happening. How do I want to sequence this? If I play Fleshraker, I can Chalice on 0. If I play Eye of Ugin, Fleshraker, Chalice on 0 gives me mana to exile the Ignoble Hierarch and still Wasteland them. Let's go. Fleshraker, fake 1-drop, beats the Chalice. Chalice on 0 makes a Dingus. And the Storm damage begins. Sack the Dingus. Kozilek's Command for 2. I want to eat your creature. And I don't think I really need to scry and draw, given that I'm drawing a million cards a turn. So I'm going to make extra Dinguses. Target me, target Ignoble. And I Lightning Bolt you as well. Wasteland. I'll take the Bayou, just because that's more expensive. I want to see it in the graveyard. I want to see you cry. Okay, this was a pretty good start. Let's see if they can turn it around. They certainly cannot. There we go. That's how this deck finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in a tournament. Let's do more of that. Okay, it looks like we're against Cradle Control. The Battle Mage is interesting because I'm a lot worse at making blue mana than I am at green. I have the Gaia's Cradle and the Yavimayas that can facilitate green, where blue has to come off Cavern of Souls or Lotus Petal. Maybe I just bring in the Dismembers and try to smush their head. Chalice was good that game, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good when I'm on the draw. What if I go Chalice free, all beats? These hands, buy one, get one free, is the mode I'm pivoting into. Is Null Drifter good in a matchup that could be this fast, but they can also grind slow? Okay, Once Upon a Time's out. All the Heralds still in. Anything that can interact with a creature's in. I'm going for it. Okay. A kind of Turbo Herald start. I'll keep this. I have Devourer available. That should be able to set up the Thought-Knot Seer for turn 2. My Destiny. They mulled to 6. Once Upon a Time. Hey, I did that last game and I won easily. I hope that doesn't bode. Oh, you're like Nadu Elves something other? Or is Springheart and Antuco just in these decks now? I think I've seen Cradle Control just play Springheart and Antuco on the value. So I'm not going to read too much into that. We got an emergency. Exile target creature with mana value X or less? Don't mind if I do. I might not be heralding on turn 1 anymore. A Devourer. I thought about boarding out the Null Drifter. It's not that. I have 2 heralds already. I love Fleshraker, but I would rather lock up my mana sources. Okay. This is insane. I get to do this for value. I get to draw a card and exile your creature. Boom. From the top rope. That was sweet. Okay, pass the turn. I hope they needed that. Kozilek's Command is so good. I'm just very into that card. Okay, they wastelanded me. Sure. Let's draw some replacement mana. Eye of Ugin is replacement mana. It doesn't cast any of my spells, though. As Herald, you need one actual colorless mana, which Eye does not provide. I think if they have more wastelands, though, I would prefer they hit this Eye of Ugin than this Cavern of Souls. I don't know. Let's see how this rolls out. Lair of the Hydra. Springheart Nantuko. Come on, land that casts Thought-Knot Seer easily. Oh, that might be better. Okay, I can Cavern on Eldrazi, play Sowing Mycospawn, get Eldrazi Temple, play Thought-Knot Seer. Yeah, okay, we're in here. Cavern on Eldrazi, Lotus Petal, Mycospawn, can't kick it. Tutor up Eldrazi Temple, see your thoughts, tie them in knots. Another Nantuko 2 Guy's Cradle is the hand. This is looking good, team. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but I feel like I'm going to win very easily. I think they'd have to natural order to flip this on me, and they can't natural order this turn. Or yes, they can, because they have the thing. If they drew natural order, they might flip it. I got excited for a second when I found they're out. I was rooting for them. Okay, Ancient Tomb lets me do everything. Herald reduces the Devourer, and Herald costs 1, so Herald's kind of free this turn. Herald, re-Herald. Ancient Tomb, this should cost 5 now. Indeed it does. Uncounterable just in case. Devour, eat your Springheart Nantuko. Attack for thousands. This is 11. A natural order could still flip it, but I think I even just bashed through Atraxa on raw damage here. I'm not going to do the math, but I'm just going to assume it's true. Okay, we did it. That was a nice follow-up to the whole league where I was playing pretty fair otherwise. Okay, I did not bring out a positive record, but we did see the full ups and downs spectrum of this deck, especially that last round. Just kicked their head in. It was not close to close. The strengths of the deck are, if your opponent is not attacking your mana, you're probably doing messed up shit really hard on them. We saw the weakness of the deck where sometimes you keep a hand based on exactly what you see in your opening hand, and a wasteland then makes it all unplayable. We saw the weakness of creature-based strategies versus a resolved Psychic Frog. We got to witness that multiple times. And this deck without great removal, or without a lot of removal, Kozilek's Command is kind of great, but without a lot of removal, Psychic Frog is pretty reliable to run amok. We saw the pain of being an Ancient Tomb deck on the draw versus Delver. That's still true. That's been true for 10, 12 years, however long Delver's existed at this point. We got to showcase the mana denial part of the deck, the prison part of the deck versus Storm. We even got to Storm out against Storm with double Glaring Fleshraker. The game ends so fast when that happens. And I think we showed a full spread of this. If you're looking for sideboard guide or mulligan decision guide, maybe check out my friend Thraben Yu. He's much better at this sort of deck than I am. But we saw the raw power. This is going to be part of the metagame. Make sure you understand how to beat this deck, whether it's waste them strategically and apply damage, or lock them out with a Harbinger or Back to Basics or Blood Moon. I've actually even seen Painter Servant being played in decks without Grindstone recently, because naming any color turns off all the colorless Eldrazi synergies of the lands and everything. If the format is at the point where we're just playing 1/3s, that kind of Blood Moon 1 deck, that is a huge sign of respect for this deck. Be aware of it, know your plan, or get tentacled. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.